the Astros have made it official. Lance McCullers is going to pitch for the Astros on Saturday. Could have went a little bit longer on the rehab, but after 4 rehab starts, we'll be pitching for the Astros on Saturday. So we missed it by 2 days. We said August 15th would be the return of LMJ. It's going to be August 13th against the A's. What does the return of Lance McCullers mean for the Houston Astros?
Well, it means in their mind he's healthy. Now, can he stay healthy, and then can he be effective? Because as I said all along, as we both tried to project when he was going to be back, I'm not going to even think about it or get worried about it or concerned about it or focus on it till he comes back. Once he comes back, I said I need to see about 4 starts from him where he's not only healthy after the 4 starts, but he's effective. So this is the start of the second part of the process, and that process is going to continue if after those 4 starts, he's effective. His pitch count continues to go up. He goes deeper into games. He's getting guys out, and then you have a great problem on your hands to find a place for him on your playoff roster. But in the meantime, if there are stumbling blocks along the way, you have enough time and you have the ability to pre-plan because you're leading the division to figure it all out. So I love that they're doing this, and I love the fact that they're going to get back to not taxing and overusing their starters while they figure out what Lance McCullers they can get. And I think it's a very savvy move by the organization. I did not say Dusty Baker there.
I don't believe there's any chance that, barring injury, that Lance McCullers is not on the playoff roster. The question becomes, is he part of the rotation?
Is he a starter?
Because, look, let's be very honest. Right now, August 11th, if you're just to power rank the Astros' 6 starting pitchers, because we know that 4 of them, more than likely, would be in the playoff rotation. Lance McCullers is 6th. Lance McCullers shouldn't jump anybody in terms of the pecking order or the Astro power ranking or the confidence pitching in the playoffs. Look, Luis Garcia's had some of his struggles. Jose Urquidy had his first rough start since a very long time where he pitched really, really well. Javier has bounced back a little bit after a little bit of a lull too. But you can't really look at Lance McCullers' resume up till 2022 and automatically put him like 3rd in this rotation, 4th in this rotation. He starts from the very bottom. He is your 6th starter right now in a 6-man rotation. Now, he can fix that. He can climb the ladder, but as of right now, he's 6th. In terms of him making the playoff rotation, he needs to beat out a couple of guys.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think that, we've already indicated when he responded with tweets that we had sent out and other things that he's not really geeked up on being a bullpen guy. Well, then show why. Show that you can get back to the old form. Show that you can do the kind of things that have made you a guy that they have committed to long-term at good money, and show that you can be a reason why this team should be even more formidable come the postseason. And he's got time to do that. And I'm not saying, his first start right out of the gates against the A's that he's supposed to be mowing them down and just, blowing and going through 6 innings and showing that, he just picked up where he left off, because that's not going to be the case. But I want to see him get better. I need to see him making progress in each of these starts. I need to see, obviously, first and foremost, the next day bouncing back, feeling healthy, feeling stronger, knowing, as he said, he's gotten his legs underneath him more, so that you're prepping him for the playoffs. And when you're prepping him for the playoffs, the first and foremost idea is he's going to be a starter somewhere for you.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that as long as he checks the boxes.
Hey, guys, back to the video in just 1 minute. Before that, I want to tell you about Fitz Roofing. If you got a leaky roof or need a full roof replacement on your business or your home, or you want to get something done around the yard or maybe something around the house, they have the best warranties in the business, the best ratings, and the best service. They're going to take care of you every step of the way. Fitz Roofing, making a difference, one home at a time.
Look, you're trying to give him the runway to catapult Luis Garcia. You're trying to give him the runway. Like, I don't even know who you would consider your number 4 right now. Like, the top 2 are pretty obvious, Justin Verlander, Framber Valdez. I think you can have a real discussion who's your number 3, your number 4, your number 5.
Well, Urquidy bumped himself up, and Garcia has kind of bumped himself down, and Javier hasn't been bad. It's just that he set a bar at a certain level that people are going to criticize him no matter what he does if he doesn't throw a shutout. But I think that, to me right now, it's between Javier and Urquidy for 3.
Me too, because I think that there's 3 easy slots for 3 pitchers. Verlander, easily your number 1. Framber, easily your number 2. Luis Garcia, easily your number 5.
Right.
The 3-4 right now is interesting to me because Jose Urquidy, I love him as a starter, pitch deep into games, but he's probably going to give up 2-3 runs. Whereas Christian Javier is more volatile as a starter, right? He can have the Yankee performance where he punches out 13 and basically pitches a no-hitter, or he can go 3 innings, give up 3 runs, and you got to go to the bullpen quickly. So It's tough for me between those two. But as of now, I probably lean Urquidy 3, Javier 4, Garcia's my 5, Lance McCullers is the 6th. There is enough time. I mapped it out. Even if the Astros stay in a 6-man rotation the rest of the way, including September, which I don't think that they're going to do, but if they do, 6-man rotation the rest of the way, he would make between 7 to 8 starts. I don't even really care about the first 4.
That's a lot. That's more than I thought. That'd be great.
And that's
just
even
to
in
see
a
him.
6-man. It could be more if you shrink it down to 5 in September.
Yeah, you just want to be able to make a educated decision on who he is and what he can be for you. And if you get that many starts, it should be pretty definitive. Like, if he can stay healthy and he continues to throw more pitches and go deeper into games, and he has all of his stuff and repertoire pitches, there's nothing that shouldn't be out on the table for you to be able to dissect and figure out in 6 to 7 to 8 starts.
And I'm almost not even looking at his first 3 in terms of results.
He's just got to get his feet wet and get comfortable again.
Yeah, give me the first. I'm willing to give him a pass for the first 3 starts. Go out there, get the pitch count. The velo was concerning for me the last time he was pitching in Sugarland.
Saturday?
I think it's more pitches than innings, right?
Right.
I would say about 70, 75. He pitched, 80 in his last assignment?
86 in his last one. I think he's barring a whole heap of trouble and trying to stay in a game for some kind of reason on that. I think that I got to see at least 80 pitches out of Lance McCullers because that's what you're expecting your starters to do.
Now, it could be result-driven, too, if he gets lit up.
That's what I'm saying, if he gets in a couple of jams he can't get out of, then that changes. But in terms of just from a pitch count, I think you got to see in the ballpark of 80.
Yeah, see, the first 3 starts to me, it's about, okay, start him at 80, then ramp him up to 85, 90. Third start, ramp him up to 95. Right? I don't even know if I want Lance McCullers.
I don't know if I want to throw it over a hundo
at all
now.
this year.
Nope.
Maybe September.
I agree.
But his first 3 starts about getting back into the conditioning, getting back into major league games, trying to work on that velo. I hate the fact that it's at 91. Give me up to there to about 93. I think it's going to help too that he's pitching in a 6-man as opposed to where he was pitching in Sugarland, was basically making a start every 5th day. So I think that's going to help him, too, with the velo a little bit. Now, still has a lot to prove in order to crack that playoff rotation. It also brings up an interesting, and it's kind of a secondary point because, we get into our tiffs about Brian Abreu and the bottom of the Astros bullpen, and it's really a secondary thing. Like Abreu and Martinez, they're not really moving the needle. But Lance McCullers is returning before the September call-ups, which, of course, in baseball, you get 2 September call-ups if you'd like to use them, expand the roster from 26 to 28. The Astros are going to have to send a pitcher down to make room for Lance McCullers on Saturday. And to me, it's either going to be Martinez or Abreu. I think there's a sliver, very small chance that it could be Phil Maton, but I doubt it.
Phil Maton's doing his best to try and get into that conversation.
He entered the chat room yesterday.
He did.
And he was not in that chat room beforehand. I still don't ultimately think it's going to be him, but he has an option. He could be the guy. More than likely Abreu or Seth Martinez. Who do you think it's going to be for James Click?
Boy, you know what? I don't know if it's – I think Seth Martinez is a guy that Dusty trusts more. I think that – and Dusty's trust, as we know, goes a long way. So Seth Martinez has proved that every time he's put into any kind of situation, he keeps you where you need to be. Aaron Judge touched him up a little bit in the one game that got his ERA to go up a little bit. But for the most part, when Seth Martinez comes into a game, things don't implode. And I think that it might be better that Abreu just keeps working on his craft. He keeps getting, that secondary pitch over with men on base. He keeps being able to figure out the mental aspects of the game. That doesn't mean that he doesn't have a position on this team in the playoffs or they don't bring him back at a certain point. But for the right now, I think that Abreu is the guy that probably is best suited to go back to Sugarland.
Yeah, I think I actually would make that call too. And I'm pro Abreu. The fear that I have with having Martinez gone is this bullpen doesn't have a long guy. And I know that sometimes they try to pigeonhole Abreu into that, which I think is like putting a round peg into a square hole. He's not a long guy. He's a one-inning guy. He doesn't need to be making up-downs. Where Seth Martinez gives you the ability to go deep into a game. Like, he can pitch 3 innings out of the bullpen. And, look, we don't know what to expect out of Lance McCullers. If Lance McCullers gives up 4 runs in 3 innings on Saturday, I'm worried about the rest of the bullpen because I don't have a long guy. Seth Martinez gives you that luxury that Brian Abreu does not. If Javier gets ripped and he needs to, get taken out in the 4th inning, you need that guy to bridge you to the back. Otherwise, you're going to make your bullpen upside down, which is a term that Dusty uses. So I would actually go with Abreu as the dude I'm sending down if it's not Maton, because I need that long guy in the bullpen. I think it's going to be that way. Now, I also think whoever you're sending down is going to be up in 2 weeks when September rolls around.
Right, yeah, no doubt about it. And I think that doesn't bode well for Hunter Brown, but that bodes well for seeing what you can put together for the best roster for 2022 playoffs. And I think that's the way they should be thinking. And it's the mentality that they had before the deadline that we heard from Jim Crane that he gave to James Click. These guys are doing what they needed to do to put them in a position to win it all this year. Now do what you need to do as a general manager to enhance them and help them win. This is part of helping them win. This isn't developing Hunter Brown to see what he can be in the future. This is making sure that you have the most lock, stock, and barrel solid roster, pitching and hitting and defensively and otherwise, for the playoff run. Mm-hmm. And that's the only focus that everyone should be focused on between now and the end of the regular season.
And from like a global perspective, for looking at the forest and not the trees, like, is Hunter Brown a better pitcher right now than Seth Martinez and or Brian Abreu?
Probably.
You could sell me on that. Yeah, I would buy that. But I'm not going to start the clock on Hunter Brown to be my last guy out of the bullpen or my second to last guy out of the bullpen.
When he's not really a relief pitcher yet.
Yeah.
Anyway, too, that would be another adjustment that you don't want to kind of go through growing pains with. You want to make sure that you're figuring out who the guys in your bullpen are going to be.